Do you have an important event coming up? Are the stakes high and you know this event can positively or negatively affect your life? Are you starting to get anxious and worried? Are your thoughts starting to spiral out of control? Are most of those thoughts negative and fear-based? If any of that is true, be sure to stick around for this entire video so that you don't miss out on how to prepare for this meeting, audition, interview, or any other big event or conversation that you are preparing for, so that you can greatly increase your odds of everything working out in your favor. Let's go over the first two things you need to think about upon preparation for this big event. And for the sake of this video, we're just going to call it an event. It can be a interview, a conversation with somebody you're not looking forward to, like a confrontation. It could be an audition. It could be anything of such that could be emotionally stimulating you and causing you fear and worry. And it's something that you still have to do and address no matter what. So the first thing I want you to think about is, what is the worst possible outcome that could happen? I want you to explore this, and I want you to truly explore this so that you can understand the reality of what the worst case scenario will look like. Once you do this, you will have internalized already what that worst case scenario will look like, and then you'll no longer have the fear of the unknown. It's almost like ripping off the Band-Aid and exposing the wound. So you take the Band-Aid off and you see what's beneath it. Now you know, you don't have to wonder, you've seen it. Okay, so now what? Can you think of any resolutions, alternatives, or remedies to the worst possible outcome? And truly explore this topic so that you can go ahead and be familiar with it, because that is going to give you power already knowing the worst case scenario. Once you've done this, let's shift gears. So now I want you to think about what you want to come out of this meeting or event. What outcome are you hoping for? What's your goal? What's your expectation? What's your agenda? Once you know this, you can make sure that you take any preparations that you need to be prepared for this so that you can go in confident. But now let's discuss what happens mentally before this big event. If you're anything like what I would like to identify as the old me, which, let's be honest, I still do this, but I catch myself, I probably start to spiral with worry, anxiety, doubt, and fear before this big event that is coming up. But much like myself, this is where I'm gonna need for you to stop so that you don't spiral out of control and you can gain that control back. It's very important not to allow yourself to be destructive, because it's almost like praying for what you don't want or manifesting what you don't want. Because as most of you all know, your words have power and your thoughts have power. So you have to use those wisely. You don't want to continue to pray and manifest for the opposite of what you want by focusing on what you don't want to happen. So here is where we find ourselves that we already know the worst case scenario. We already know what we expect, and we are confident because we've made the proper preparations. If you needed to study, you have studied. If you needed to do research, you have done that research. You are prepared as much as you possibly can be, so you can be confident in knowing that. So the only job you have left at this point is any time that you find yourself spiraling back into those fear-based thoughts, you're going to stop yourself and then redirect yourself back to what you are expecting to happen, the outcome you're expecting to happen. So the next thing that you need to do to prepare for this big event is keep yourself in good spirits. You need to do whatever you know keeps you in good spirits. For me, what that looks like is journaling, doing yoga, working out, breathing techniques. I really like Wim Hof or alternate nostril breathing, listening to high vibe music, any music that just lifts your spirit up. And you're gonna do this every day leading up to the big event and right before the big event, because it's gonna be very important to keep yourself in this high vibe so that you can be more in the frequency of attracting what you do want and not that of what you don't. So the next thing that you need to think about before this big event is, what type of person needs to show up to this big event? Because if you're not exactly sure, then you need to really evaluate or consider what type of person are you meeting up with? Because that person and their personality type and their demeanor is going to reflect how you need to be behaving towards that person to tip the scale more in your favor. So let me give you a little example. The person that you're meeting up with, say it's somebody that you have a conflict with, it would be a good idea for you to try to consider what that person might be observing and perceiving about this situation that you all gotten yourself into. And consider, are their feelings or perspective valid? And or did you intend to make that person feel the way they felt or for them to perceive the situation like they perceived it? If not, you should genuinely explore how you can kindly get them to see your perspective. I was watching an interview with Evy Poumpouras, sorry if I said your last name wrong, and she was saying in the interview that you should listen to the other person's perspective. Then once they're done speaking, you should say, I hear you, I disagree with you, and this is why. Here's my perception on that. Learning how to disarm people with the way we speak in our words and our language, it's such a superpower. Another superpower is learning how to control your energy and the energy that you push out. This truly affects how people perceive us and whether or not they will like us or not. And a lot of times it can really be the deciding factor on if someone's going to agree with us or not agree with us, like us or not like us, and help things to go in our favor or not go in our favor. So before walking into your meeting, you want to change your energy and lift your spirits. So one thing I like to do is I find cat videos really cute and adorable, and they make me feel warm and fuzzy. And so I will turn on some cat videos on TikTok or Instagram Reels before walking into a meeting because it will lift my spirits and kind of make me just happier, and you can just feel it. For some people, it might be singing their favorite song in their car at the top of their lungs. That's just really good, and it's a really good way to get out just like pent up energy. I like doing that as well. So what if you do all these things and the meeting or the event does not go as planned and did not go the way you wanted? Ask yourself, did this end up my worst case scenario? If the answer is no, then it's somewhat of a win. If the answer is yes, then guess what? You already know what the worst case scenario could have been, and you'd already thought about that and equipped yourself to handle it so that you can better cope with that outcome. Because the truth of the matter is, sometimes things don't go as planned, and they might catch you off guard, especially if you did all these things to make things go your way and they didn't. Unfortunately, that's just life. And when these things do happen, the best thing I can remind myself and I can remind you is that sometimes you might not see in the present moment why something didn't work out the way you had planned for it to, because something greater or better is coming. And I know that is so hard to face and hear and listen to. Trust me, I know this so well. And I recently just had this happen to me again, actually twice in the same week. And you know what? It was kind of gut-wrenching, but I knew that things could not go my way possibly, and I'm prepared. And I had my coping techniques ready. I allowed myself a little time to get the aggression out, get the anger out, get the sadness out. And now currently I am transitioning back to trusting that things will work out in my favor somehow, some way. So I hope you found some value out of this video. If you're feeling my vibe, please subscribe. If you like the video, please give it a like, and I'll see you guys next time.